Welcome to Alignment First, where we're on a mission to bring leaders back to their peace, presence, and power. And I've got the honor and pleasure of jamming with Keira Brinton, the people's publisher, founder of JOA Publishing. And we've been in each other's orbit for quite some time now. Nikita got us connected from afar, and then we literally bumped into each other for the first time in real life at Daniel's Unicon 3 event. And I got to tell you, I'm enamored by the energy that you move with. You move through the world, in my perception, at a frequency that resonates higher than most. And in the aftermath of our last conversation, I'm listening to John Fogerty, the lead singer from Clarence Clearwater Revival, and on Joe Rogan this week. And the one-liner that I got from Jimmy Carr in a clip that I just saw, they land in compliment with each other, and that's I never refuse the muse. And that's where I want to start with you, because that's what you do for your authors, is you help them channel their muse. And if I'm off the mark in the language here, we were just talking about word codes. If I'm off the mark in the language here, please correct me. But I want to start there. Because it is just so front of mind right now. When you hear that statement, I never refuse the muse, what shows up for you? And we'll unpack the rest.
Well, one, I think that just relates to my life. Like, I never refuse the muse. I never refuse the visions, the asks that come to me, the invitations. I say yes to all. And that is why I am where I am, because I have not said no to one single ask that the Creator has asked me to bring to the earth. I think some would call me a muse.
Okay.
But the way I view it is I'm the one who can activate creation inside of people. And my goal is that once they've felt it, then they can actually start activating it on their own. And that is what happens, is that when people sit with me, like, the heavens open and they begin to hear, but then they begin to become this channel. And that's the hope, so that everyone who leaves my presence can continue the work that they were called to do with so much more ease.
Yeah. You're a mother of 5.
I am.
And the Cliff Notes version, you turned a couple $1,000s into a couple of million in a couple of years. It's a very brief, understated version of your story. And I'm curious, the inception, were you, and I'm intentionally ignorant of all of these things because it's the discovery that makes the conversation. The inception of what you do, is that born on the back of your first publishing endeavor, or how did it all manifest that you were at what was the inflection point to chart this course?
Right. So there's a few different points. One is that I was a medium, and I say was because I don't choose to talk to dead people. It's not very fun for me. And so, like, I actually just said, I'm not going to do this anymore. And I, like, closed that gift.
I'm going to interrupt you on purpose because I'm intrigued. As a medium, and it not being fun for you, is the experience like are you a cinephile? Do you know movies?
No, I don't know movies.
Do you know the movie Sixth Sense?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Like the I see dead people, like terrifying conversations, like holy shit. Like, is that what it was like for you?
No, what it was like was that I would have people come and give, like, spirits come and ask me to give messages to people who were on this earth. And not always were the messages I wanted to give.
Okay. Yep.
And I felt like I didn't have agency in this. And I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, this isn't what I want to do. And so what was powerful is I did do it for 3 years. Everyone who came to me, I did give their messages. Otherwise I would get like 100 canker sores. So it was like this thing like I had to do. Yeah. It was like a very visceral experience. And so I had 3 years of that experience. And so when I asked God to take the gift away, it did complete for me. But then a few years later, I was called to start a publishing house. And I thought that was so strange. But I did, because I do everything that I'm asked to do by what I call God, the God of my understanding. And 2 years after I started the publishing house, I was sitting with a client who, and I was not helping people write books at this point. And the way that spirits used to come and give me messages, her book appeared. And I was like, oh. And so then I began to like fine tune my gift of mediumship, of listening to books. And now I've probably spent 10,000 hours in these sessions with authors all over the world. So now it's just my easiest gift. And I find so much joy in it. I find so much joy in helping people hear their books, because books live beyond our lives. It's the only thing that lives beyond us is the written word.
What was the work that you did to understand that your perceived curse was actually your gift? My words, not yours.
Well, when it first arrived, that first time I was sitting with a girl, she didn't even know she had a book in her. And all of a sudden I felt the book arrive like spirits would used to show up for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think you have a book. And then I just started to tell her what the pages look like. And I started to tell her what I saw. And then she went home and wrote a book in 4 weeks. And we were like, whoa, what is that? And then like I did it again. And so it was almost like this delightful surprise. And that's what it felt like. And every time I sit to channel with someone, it is a delightful surprise. I never know what's going to come through. And a lot of times I still doubt, like, can I do this? Is this, but it always arrives and it always is here. And so I think it was actually it was that I received it. When I saw that, like, this was how I could use my gift, I was like, oh, I'm on board for this. Like, this is what I feel. And then it was like, of course, that's why I was asked to start a publishing house. Of course, like all the pieces started to come together.
I call that connecting the cosmic dots.
Oh, that's totally it.
You know, there was a point in my career where I had the gym, I had written my first book, I had the podcast in its infancy, and I had my leaders forum. And it looked from the outside looking in as like a shotgun blast of really awesome endeavors, right? But I was a mile wide and an inch deep in all of them. And I'm curious how this goes for you in channeling for your authors, in that I, at the time, could not explain how all the pieces fit together, because it to even rationalize it myself was frustrating. All I knew is my intuition said, keep developing these 4 things. Don't let them die. And eventually it all came to fruition in the work that I do now. What is that, a similar season of life for your authors when they come to you?
Yes, for my authors. Yes, I watch them. Well, and the power of the way that we write books in this version is we don't write it, we receive them. And so I sit and I ask them to ask, like, get more precise with your ask. And then new ideas arrive. Like, if we keep writing books from our own understanding, we're not bringing anything new to humanity. We're just all living in the same regurgitated content. So my invitation is that we sit and we ask, so we get new ideas, new principles, new distinctions that haven't actually been brought here. And so when authors do that, it opens up everything. Now they've got a whole body of work that just came through that then gets to become the seed of all the things that they do from then on. Yeah.
Oh, there's so many parallels here. In the work that I do, when I leave a session with a client, and even in the facilitation I receive from my guides, my coaches, my mentors, there's the thing that you thought you showed up for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's the thing that you actually got that you didn't know that you needed.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you stop refusing the muse, and you, as Coach Burt would say, become open to everything and closed off to nothing, it's wild what shows up, and I'm curious if it doesn't violate any confidentiality.
Yeah.
What is the starkest contrast between the book somebody thought they wanted to write and the book that actually got written?
No, I mean, it just happens over and over. Like, I mean, the
Well, then give me your
number
favorite example.
the number one thing people would say are like, "Oh, I thought I was going to write this book, but I ended up writing this book."
Mhm.
I don't know. I've helped so many. I'm trying to think of one that sticks out dramatically. It's like all of them, but one. I mean, this book isn't quite written yet, so I don't know if I want to share hers yet. I think there's a book that we have coming out soon. It's called and his name is Kobe Taylor, and he's like a walking, living prophet. He's just so profound and wise, and he came in thinking that his book was going to be about health and nutrition because he's a pharmacist. And you know, he hired me to take him on an author adventures, which is where I take people to locations around the planet and we write their books. And we went to his hometown of St. George, Utah. So we sat on the red rocks in St. George in prayer for 5 hours, and a completely different book arrived. And I would say it's probably one of the most profound and deep books that we've ever published, with like the mysteries of God have been unveiled in this book. And he's always like, and I thought it was going to be a book on health and nutrition. So, you know, that's always a good time.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Is there an emotional component to this work? Is there like a release of some sort that people didn't, you know, is there, you know, like an energetic block? I think the word trauma is overused, but it's all I have right now. Yeah. Is there something that needs to be either moved or overcome for that channel to open?
Yes. And so that's one of my gifts. And I think I don't ever talk about this gift, interesting enough. But I was actually raised by two healers.
I'm checking a box right now.
Yes, you are.
That means I asked the right question.
Good job. So both of my parents are healers and they own healing schools. So I grew up in a very weird world, right? And I actually began training. Isn't it? Yeah, right. It was a really beautiful world. So I actually started training with my father at 16. And I was like, he was my main mentor until I was 32. So I learned everything that he knows.
What is their practice?
So he does something called muscle testing, but it's like a form of kinesiology, but it's a bunch of other things, a lot of like energy work, a lot of unbinding, unwinding, like a lot of clearing things out. So I have both of my parents' like schools inside of me. And
what did your mom do?
So she has her own school called Energy Mastery, and she does like energy healing work in the chakras.
Okay. What an interesting dynamic. One that plays in the esoteric spiritual and the other that brings it to the ground in the physical realm.
Yeah. It's fascinating. So I would say that I am a healer. And so what I do is I actually, before I even work with people, we go into their chakras and I kind of clear some things out. And we do that with, I call it the blessing of the body. And we take water and we activate it to match the frequency of miracles. And then we bless our chakras to clear them out. So before we even start channeling, we're aligning their energetic body in alignment with the highest form, which I think is miracles. And then from there, we actually take their vision of who they're here to be, and I activate it into a code and we place it within their spine, literally energetically, to shift them to be this leader. And then when they're in that energy, that's when we start receiving the book. So we bypass a lot of trauma. We bypass a lot of writer's block because we just clean the vessel first, match the vision of who you're meant to be, and then as that version we begin to receive.
So sick. Oh, I love it. So cool.
Yeah.
So cool. Is there there's a lot of stuff coming through my universe right now in the veteran community around plant medicine and some of these initiatives from Capitol Hill that are being pushed down for rehabilitative purposes, et cetera. And is there a part of your learning and accumulation of wisdom in channeling that's associated with plant medicine, either in your current practice or previous versions of Keira?
I am not a plant medicine girl,
Love it.
and I'm not against it. But for me, my channel is very clear.
Yeah.
And I spend an hour with God every morning and I clear my channel. And for me, there's like, I just don't want to mess with what's working.
Sure.
And I know a lot of people love plant medicine. And so I am just like open to whatever everyone needs to walk their path. But when people channel with me, we do not use plant medicine. We really stay in this space and time. And it's really beautiful.
No, I dig that, because I sat with and did a podcast with Coach Casey out in Las Vegas. He's like the guy UFC fighters go see when they need to clean up their jujitsu. Okay. And just like a dope soul and a very soft soul for that world. Okay. And I asked him about that, because in the fight game, it's all over the place, you know. But I mean, my exposure to Bufo for the first time was at the referral of my brother, who just retired from the UFC.
Wow.
And in Coach Casey's school, he will not work with anybody that plays with plant medicine, because it, in his wisdom, suggests that it removes the dog from the fighter. Right. Because so much of that world is predicated on proving something either to the world or to self. And when the ego dies, as is often the case in the plant medicine experience, for setting in context, it's like you don't have anything to fight for. That motivation to prove yourself. It's like, man, what the fuck's the point, you know? And so he's like, it's so funny. He's like, I won't even touch it because I still like that dog in me.
Interesting.
And I was like, dude, that is a level of self-awareness that's rare in this world.
That's amazing. I love that.
So all of that being said, I took your assessment, and you and I are both phoenixes.
We are, which is super fun.
In our author archetype. If it's not revealing too many cards, I'd like to know, I'd like to walk through the other archetypes and their characteristics, because one of the things that's going to come from this conversation is everybody who tunes in is going to have access to this assessment, and it'd be cool to have something for them to look forward to.
I had a lot of fun building this. The reason why I built it is because I realized that I was just teaching a certain way all the time, and it didn't always land for everybody. And this is like past channeling. This is me now helping people take all their channelings and put it into a book and then build their business. And all of a sudden I was just like, wait, there's like so many different types of people. And so I took all the different personality assessment quizzes and I kind of combined them together and all of the experiences I've had with authors. And I came up with these 3. And it just helps us so much understand our author better. So if someone's a Phoenix, like they're like, they don't like details and they're like high risk and they're just like, put me in the field coach, like, let me go. And so like, that's who I am. So I run so well with that. But then when we have the blueprint of the architect, they like details and they want to know processes and they want to know step by step of what needs to happen. And so for me to serve them, if I know someone's an architect, I'm like, oh, great. So before you sign on to this program, meet with Mona, my head project manager, who's also an architect. And she's going to give you the call that you really want. Because I'm for sure not the girl to give you that call. You know, like I'm just not going to give you any of these details. It's just like hurts me. Right. So like, then I understand how to help them. And then we can help them better in the writing of their book. So it just helps me gauge who they are. And then that also helps people. Like if you're a Phoenix and you've been trying to format your creativity, no wonder your book's not done yet, because you're trying to write it like an architect, and phoenixes don't write like that. So phoenixes write like fire hose. They write like pressure. They write like, oh, containment of creation. But like you say, hey, could you write an outline first before you write your book? And then they're never going to write a book. But if I were to go to the architect and be like, hey, I want you to just channel for the next 7 hours and then give me all of your creations, they're going to be like, I can't. And then the dream weavers are so powerful because they're the ones who dream so big, but they struggle with taking action. And so then when we see someone's a dream weaver, we're like, oh, you have the dream, which is perfect. Because if we have a dream, we can build anything. But let me show you how to now take action so that your dreams become real. And so it's just been such an amazing support for me to know how to really speak to authors.
So I want to put this in the context of the Muse, because this is fun. So if we're going to miss the mark or stumble or procrastinate on getting this book done, it seems like phoenixes are constantly waiting on the Muse. Architects are resistant to the Muse. And the dream weaver can't catch the Muse.
I like it. That feels pretty accurate.
Okay.
It's pretty accurate, Michael. It's pretty accurate.
Oh, shit. And if you don't know which is which, to your point, you're grasping at straws.
You're trying to write a book in a language that isn't yours. So that's one of the biggest problems I've seen, is that everyone just tells you how to write a book. And we think that there's one set way. And what I found is that's why it takes people 8 years to write a book. My authors, they come and write books in 5 days with me. Why? Because we get out of our heads, we get into our hearts, and then we write in the way of their body. Like, what's the way you write? And some people are voice memoers. Great. Voice memo that shit. Like, this is great. Bring down the heavens. But we have to find the way that we dance best. And then when you find it, it's just game on. But we have to get rid of the old ways, the ways that tell you this is how it should be done. I always say, I always say this. I have never wanted to do dishes in the middle of an orgasm. It's just not a thing. It's not a damn time. Not a damn time. But what happens is when creatives are told to take their brilliance and put it into some format before it actually arrives, they're just doing dishes in the most extraordinary creative energy of all time. And so it's like, stop doing the dishes, just receive the joy, receive the energy, receive the words, and trust that it will all arrive. But we just clamp that creativity to make it fit, to make it be what we think others would want it to be.
Why do you think that dynamic exists? Because I don't think that's obviously not exclusive to any archetype, right? It's prevalent across the board. Where does that come from?
Well, I feel like there was this guy named Bob. And he was like, this is how you write books. And everyone was like, okay, great. Like, it's just like someone just created it and we just all followed suit, right? But also people get so stuck. They get so stuck out of like, are people going to like this? Will anyone buy it? Will anyone read it? Am I good enough? And all of that is just doing the dishes. You're just clamping all of the creativity that wants to come through you. And that equals suffering.
Why do you think we're so preoccupied with what others think?
I don't know, but it is the thing that stops almost everyone. And so what I always teach people, and I did this today in one of my masterminds, someone was really stuck. And I just said, I want you to think of one person right now who's at the bottom of their barrel. They're on the ground in their bathroom crying, and they're like, God, I need a sign. I need a key. Like, show me the next path. And somehow your video pops up that leads them to your book. And your book is the medicine that solves all the things. Like, do you actually care if your mom likes this book? Do you actually care if so-and-so is going to like you? Do you actually care if the world rejects it? No. And she was like, of course not. I'm like, then that's it. Like, if we can just put ourselves into service and understand, like, this is not about me, then it just changes the whole game.
Yeah. What's also interesting about that, my good friend, and we're working together on my next book, Susan Sember, beautiful soul, wise woman. She's like, before we got into bed together, figuratively, she was like, before, let's expectation management, right? Writing the book is not the hard part. It's everything that comes after the book, where in her lived experience, that's where published authors actually meet the most resistance.
It is. Yeah.
Because I'm going to drop a blog about this idea, this self-sabotage of but, right? Oh, I got this great book. I'm so proud of what I created, but, and then all of a sudden, as she was describing it, she's like, they don't actually want to speak from stage. They're not, or all of a sudden not available. They freed up hours over the course of months to get this thing done. And all of a sudden they don't have any availability for a podcast. The book signings, all the things that come along with it. Right. And I was like, I have all of my clients move through this checklist of alignment, right? Because, like I know, in the feeling and thinking of abundance, we see opportunities everywhere, right? I don't care what's going on in the White House. I don't care what the economy's doing.
Yeah.
There's opportunities everywhere.
Yes.
But not every opportunity is Keira's opportunity, just like not every opportunity is Michael's opportunity, right? And being able to discern, right? And I think it's really important. I think you were getting to this. Like, why are you writing the book in the first place?
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're just writing it for you, you don't need all the rest of that shit. Like, you just want to check that box, enjoy the experience, and see if you could produce something published worthy. Awesome. Right. Yeah. If it's a legacy play, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, she explains all that stuff. And I was like, I had to move through my alignment filter, and everything that she was talking about in terms of getting the book out there just so happens to also line up with all the things that I do professionally in terms of teaching, coaching, speaking, podcasting. I was like, oh, I'm so here for it. And she was like, cool. Well, now we know.
Yeah.
And we can move it forward. So in your world of channeling and bringing these books to fruition, how far down the rabbit hole do you go with your authors as far as managing those expectations and beyond the archetype and how this book is going to be produced? How do you prepare them for everything that comes after writing that last word of the manuscript?
So there's a few things. One, I have a mastermind that they belong to for a year. And that is so that I can hold them through the whole process of writing, especially during the editing. The editing is where a lot of authors tank. And so we have this solid group of authors. We meet every Wednesday, and everyone's at different places. So we watch some people at the beginning, and then we watch some people during editing and they want to burn their manuscript. And then we watch somebody right before they publish and they want to burn their manuscript. And we just but we watch it happen every week. So then it breaks these beliefs that this is real. We're like, oh, this is just the path of the author. So it's super helpful. So we have that. I do have a business vault that I call the JOA Business Vault, where I have all these videos and everything on how do you start a podcast? How do you take your book and turn it into digital courses? I teach them everything they need to do. I do not believe in just publishing. I believe in helping the author in all the levels. And now I think we've gotten 60 people onto TV. So my next iteration of who I am is
Yep.
TV. I helped 60 of them get onto a TV show called Legacy Makers, where they got a documentary of them. But then I have brought 30 onto my own TV show that is actually going to be live in 2 months, called Writer's Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tell me about bridging that gap, because you had when we were sitting together the other night, you had made mention that a gap in the game, if you will, is and if I'm off, like Michael, that's not it at all. But the conversion, the evolution into a media company is necessary in 2026, because I guess a lot of the things that we just mentioned, and creating that that human connection between reader and author. One of the things that, do you know who Stephen Pressfield is?
Of course. It's like my favorite book.
You know, he's a fellow Marine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The War of Art, right?
Best book ever. Best book ever. It was written for me.
Okay. Yeah. It's top 5, hands down.
Yeah.
One of the things that draws me to his written works is what I know of him as a man, right? And which makes me interested in, I wonder what spills out of his brain onto these pages, right? And for you, in your evolution, this next season of being, what was the catalyst that was like, oh, that's necessary now?
Right. Well, okay, so I have 2 answers. One of like why I got a TV show was honestly because I was renting this island, you know, which like about killed me at first, but it's fine. You know, 200,000 for an island is just sure for a single mom of 5 kids. Sure, let's just try that out. And I remember sitting on that island, and I just ran my first event, 15 people, and I heard loud as day. I stay at the top of the island, what I call the Queen's Room, and it's got a full 360 porch that overlooks the whole ocean from the top of the island. And I would go out there to pray every morning and every night. And I was out there in prayer, and I heard God say, you will have a TV show, and it will be this. You'll bring people to this island, and we will show the world the path of the author, which in my world is the path of the prophet, the one who sits, who asks, who listens and writes. And I thought, I have 7,000 followers. How am I going to get a TV show? And 4 months later, I was offered a TV show. And so it was just like, it was like the vision had just become real. And so I said yes. But now that we have the show, we have 2 seasons. I watch how it's so much faster than books, which means that people will feel us, know us, witness us through the screen. And the people who they see on the screen, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm just like her. They're going to immediately want her book. They're going to immediately want his book, because they're going to relate to them through the first way, which is like watching it happen. And what I know now that I have done this, is that anybody can write a book now. Anybody. Like before this moment, you actually had to be masterful to write a book.
Yeah.
But now anyone can throw shit into ChatGPT and they can publish it. And so it is actually critical that we have documentaries of us writing our books, so that we can prove I am the source. I am the one who wrote this. And it works both ways, because I watched when I spoke on a stage and I threw my 3-minute video of my TV show up before I spoke, the whole crowd was in tears before I spoke. And you can't do that. I can't just like throw a book out in 3 minutes and everyone's crying, but I can show them a 3-minute clip of my TV show and they're crying. They're guaranteed to watch the show. Then they're guaranteed to read the book. And then they know I am who I say I am. Right. Which is lived truth. It is lived truth. And that is the only thing that is our collateral at this point in the game.
I don't want to sidetrack us, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Yeah.
Are you in the world of literary works, how do you view AI? That's the best question I could ask.
Yeah. So, I have a software that I have built that is coming out this summer. It's called Lived True.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely accesses AI as a partner,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I believe that it's stupid of us to not participate with AI in the way that I do, which is organizing chaos. I love to use AI to organize the chaos of creatives in a way that even a human couldn't do.
Right.
But I am not in the business of having AI be our thought leaders. For this right here, this is one of the most dangerous steps we could ever move into. And it is this. I was shown a vision once, and the vision was this. If humanity was pulled out of the Dark Ages by the Renaissance, which is inspired art, what happens to a humanity that stops having inspired creation and inspired art, we will have an implosion, and it will become a new Dark Ages. And so I fight for the leaders who are willing to ask still, who are willing to listen, and who are willing to write, because they're the ones who will keep the heavens open at a time when it'd be so easy to watch them close. And so I do not believe we let them write it, but we partner.
I love that, because I've been sitting with this thought in my walks and in my training and in my connection with my muse. There is so much value in knowing the origins of things. Like, you still got to know how to use this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Right. And for those of you just listening, I'm holding a pen. And being willing to do it the long way, so that there's a highly efficient and still genuine product produced in partnership with any and all things technology.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think that's exclusive to AI in the human experience.
Right.
And what I'm seeing now in the world is people that are resistant to not doing it the hard way in perpetuity, but they are so unwilling to learn what that is and how we got here to appreciate the tool that's really at their hands. As I describe that, what's showing up for you?
Well, it's just, I mean, we wouldn't be doing this without technology. You and I live in Idaho and you live in Arizona. We wouldn't be having this. There's so much good to technology, but there is so much good in putting the pen to the paper. There is so much good in remembering how to come up with our own words. If we don't, then we just lose it. We lose, we atrophy, and there's tragedy in that. So it's finding a balance.
Oh, I love that. There's a tragedy in that. Yeah. I mean, I spent 25 years in strength and conditioning, and it's a muscle, right? I'm interested in your perspective on this. What is the resistance that is required to maintain and or grow one's creativity?
Oh, I love that. Let me think. I know I say the word ask a lot, but I do believe it's one of our greatest gifts is to ask. And so creativity doesn't arrive from monotony. You have to ask, but asking is a resistance because that means you have to be willing to receive. And sometimes the ask isn't answered right away. And so the resistance is like, how long can you sit in the space of unanswered receivings with the faith that it will actually arrive in the exact moment that it needs to? And that requires a tremendous amount of strength and a tremendous amount of resistance to to not wanting to break down, to not wanting to give up, to not just like pushing it aside, to like sit in the uncomfortable space until it arrives.
As you're describing that, because
Yeah.
literally, I feel you.
Yeah.
What is the moment that you just relived?
Every damn day. I mean, like, I play a big game, Michael. I play a big game. And that means I go all in. That means like I funded my TV show, cash. Like I had to take out hundreds of thousands of loans last year to pull that off. Like the amount of faith that I put in to myself and to my work, every day is the edge of the cliff. Like there's no days that I'm like, well, let me just rest today. Like actually, nope. Right? Like that's not where we're at. Like I don't know if like I don't even know if that's part of my path to like just rest. Like I am here to move mountains. I am here to like break through all of the systems that literally do not serve us to help leaders rise. And that means that every damn day I'm in my prayer corner, literally heart cracked open, asking, what's the next step? What's the next step? And, you know, on one of the hardest days that I had, because, you know, it sounds fun. Like it sounds fun. Oh my gosh, she went from 5,000 to 3 million. Like she must be living it. But any real entrepreneur knows that guess what? The year you hit 2 million is the year that you want to cry, actually. It's not the year that you're out popping champagne. And like, it just isn't. And I want to punch people in the face who act like it is because they're just lying. Right. But don't worry, because this year I will hit 10 and I will come back and I will tell you that it is delightful and 10 orgasms to have 10 million. That's what I would like.
Hey, now.
But 2 million was not. And in that year, there was one day I had $2,000 left in my bank account. And I needed 112,000 to run the empire every month. And here I was with 2,000. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not sure how we got here, but this is a rough moment. And I decided to fast. And I was determined, like, a solution will come. I've made 100,000 a day many of times. Like, I'm not really that worried. Like, it's going to show up. But like things weren't selling. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to fast. And I took my kids to school, as I do every morning. And my tire was like super flat. And I knew there was a nail. And I was like, this isn't something we can ignore as much as I'd like to. Probably should fix this. So I drive into the only tire shop in my tiny little farm town that I live in. I'm like, okay, fix this tire, guys. I have my weighted vest in the car, so I throw it on. I'm just like, I'm gonna get my steps in while I fix
this shit into a workout. Fuck it.
This is how it goes.
Hi, people.
Right? So I'm just getting my steps in, and you know, I land next to a river because I live in a farm town, and here I am next to this river, and there's all these trees, and I sit down, and my phone's always on D&D because I'm always working, and it was not because I was waiting for the tire store to call. So I'm in prayer and I'm like, God, I could really use $112,000 today. So what's the plan? And I get a call and I pick it up. I think it's a tire store. It's this guy. He's like, hey, I've been trying to reach you. You're pre-approved for $125,000 today. Would you like it? Then I was like, it's not the way I wanted it. But also like, guess what? If God's going to send a helicopter, I'm not going to be like, no, I'm waiting.
That is one of my favorite allegories.
It's the best story. It's the best story. And so I just sat there at the river and I cried. And I was like, this isn't the way I wanted 112 to show up, but fuck it. Because I just sat here in prayer and asked God for $112,000. And some lender calls me and says, I have 125,000 for you. And in that moment, it was the place of the deepest surrender I've ever been, of like, not my will, but thy will. And I will not let an empire die. And that's just one of my million stories.
Oh, I fucking love it. Oh, man. You just turned this into a 5-hour conversation. We can compare those notes. I'm curious because I wasn't born with this. I'll just speak for me. I have made it part of my practice to surround myself or put myself in the presence of people who think my big ideas are small. Not in a belittling sense, but they exemplify something that is magnitudes bigger than what I was thinking.
Yep.
Right. And as proof of what's possible. Right. And in the sharing of stories like you just told, is that also part of your channeling? Like, just I trust, I have faith in my ability, and also show me what's possible.
Yeah. Yes. Every day. Every day. And anytime I step into the realm of Keira has to figure it out, it gets real uncomfortable. And that's just not the place of miracles. And I've watched time and time again, large sums of money arriving simply because I said, not my will. Like, may the highest good be done. Show me what I need to do. And I think that that's a piece that many do not see, that part in what we could call manifesting, which I actually don't love that word, because I think people get it really mixed up. They're like, I don't know, I prayed and then I gave it over. And you're like, bullshit. Like, great, I put gas in my car, but it's not moving. Right. Just because I put gas in it doesn't mean it's going to drive. Like, I actually have to get in and I have to turn it on and I have to move it. And that's the thing that I am so good at, is that when I hear, I do. And one thing that I was given in my prayers once was the space between inspiration and action is where you become a slave to fear. And so our role and our job is to collapse that space. You receive, you do, and there's no space in between. And the more you do that, you actually live in the realm of miracles, because miracles are only brought forth by inspired action, not inspired wishing.
Have you read Outwitting the Devil?
No, you're the second person. I gotta read it now.
So I have a rule of 3.
Okay.
Can I share this with you?
Yeah, of course.
So what just happened here, right? Oh, you're number 2, right? When I get to number 3, to your point, like, okay, I hear you. And I go pick up that book. Like, I stop whatever I'm reading. It's like, I'm obviously being called to that right here, right now. So in Outwitting the Devil, there's war. They're competing. The war of art, Outwitting the Devil, in terms of what they've done for my lens of the world.
All right.
And in the book, Napoleon Hill describes the failure of prayer, in that the only thing that shows up as a result of prayer, and it's a strong maybe at best, I'm paraphrasing here, is a plan. And that's where most people stop. Yeah, it is. You got to do something.
Yeah.
And I like to tell people that the universe, source, God, operates in reciprocity. And it's only by you taking whatever the next easiest step is towards the highest and best version of you, your fullest expression, that $125,000 miracle call shows up. And do you remember the first time you surrendered? Consciously, like, I'm choosing this.
There's so many. I'm trying to see if I can remember. I do believe so. When my 20-year marriage ended, I received the inspiration to take no child support, no alimony, and not the house. Like, I took nothing. So I literally left with nothing. I didn't have a pillow. I didn't have a fork. I didn't have sheets. I had nothing. And this was only 3 years ago. Okay. So like this wasn't like a decade, like literally a hop, skip, and away. This was my life. And the amount of surrender that I did into that, there is a higher plan, that God will work miracles, and that I am the action taker who will wield them. And so it was this surrender, and it was also like, burn the fucking ships. So let's go do it or we're going to die. And that moment was my depths of surrender, of like, and it worked.
Well, I really want to dive in here because I think this is really important.
Yeah.
Because we romanticize, much in the same vein, the way we talk about manifestation, we romanticize this concept of surrender. And Lord knows I've been through my shit and I've coached people out of a lot of theirs.
Yeah.
The reality of surrender is that you don't get to, and it doesn't even have to be rock bottom, right? Yeah. But that moment of surrender in its purest sense, immediately after that moment, it's not sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
Like for many of us, it actually gets worse.
Yeah.
But you said something a second ago that I also want to bring back around, and that you said the word moment, right? And if we can bring ourselves to embrace the idea, if it's only that even though it might be hours, it may be weeks, you might be in a shitstorm like I was for a couple of years. In the grand scheme of life, it's a moment. And if you can bring yourself to that realization, even if you're making it up, to bring you through to the other side of those moments, because if you're doing anything to stretch yourself, there will be many.
Yeah.
If you can get in the practice of surrendering and stop trying to will it, and recognize that it's only a moment of darkness in the grand scheme of everything, it doesn't make it easier. That's not the message here, but it gives you the capacity to tolerate it for as long as is necessary.
Right.
What's landing for you right there?
Well, it's just, I've had a lot of dark nights. Like I just have. I mean, I dealt with suicide ideation for 20 years of my life. 2017, I almost took my life. I've dealt with a lot of darkness. And what I do know is that they always leave. They always leave. And I'm going to say I had a privilege to sit with one of my authors 3 weeks ago who was extremely suicidal, like sent me a suicide text. And I sent her a message every 30 seconds for 15 minutes until she picked up her phone. And I had the privilege to sit with her in that moment. And I said, I'm not leaving until this moment leaves. And so we sat and we sat and we sat and we sat over the phone until her moment left.
Yeah.
And that's what I know to be true, is that in those moments, it feels like it will never leave. In those moments, you feel like this is the end of all things. But if you can actually just trust, like every storm leaves, it never rains all day, every day. It just never, in no country is that true.
Right.
And so if we can truly embody that, we can make it through everything.
Viktor Frankl's coming to my mind right now.
Yeah.
Man's Search for Meaning. God, Keira, I fucking love you.
Same.
You're a dope soul, and I mean that. I
Yeah,
mean that.
thank you.
I say that.
I am. For reals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you come around to that right there? Right.
That I was a dope soul.
No, well, this is, people fuck this up all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't know how to receive.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Is that a learned behavior through the wisdom of your parents, or is that something that somebody kept punching you in the face with that you eventually surrendered to?
no, it's evidence. So in the last 3 years, where I have been a single mother of 5 children, as I've built an empire from literally 5,000 to millions, as I have taken out loans, as I have never given up, and as I have watched that when anyone sits with me, their life changes. And it is not me, but it is my absolute belief, and it is my claim that that will be so. The evidence is just like, that's just what's true for me. Like, I know who I am. And I know who I am because my actions match the vision I know I'm here to be. Now, am I perfect? Hell no. Do I have a lot of faults? Yes. I got some rage that could burn down a city, my friend. Like, I'm not perfect. And evidence proves that I am who I say I am. And I have come to see that. But it did not happen until I finally, like, literally went 2 feet in on my vision. I went 2 feet in on this calling. And watching 3 years of many times when most would have called uncle, most would have folded their cards. I did not. And I continue to not. And so it's not actually, I don't actually need anyone to tell me anything. I don't need anyone to tell me that I'm great. I'm just like, whatever. I am what I am. And I am really proud of who I've become.
And that right there makes you rare. And I appreciate it so much. And I would be doing you a disservice, even though you don't need it, to not acknowledge it.
Thank you. I didn't receive that.
Keira, where does everybody find you?
So Instagram is pretty easy. It's just my name, Keira Brinton. Send me a little message. I'll message you back. If people go to websites, I don't know if anyone does anymore, but KeiraBrinton.com is there. JOA Publishing.com is there. I have a daily podcast. We're on pause this month, but we have 350 episodes, so you guys will be fine. Go listen to them. They're really great. There's 10-minute prayers, get people in alignment at the beginning of the day to ask, listen, and do. And then I have a YouTube video. I have like 70 days in a row. I'm getting back into it. I'm documenting the path of a single mom of 5 kids taking her company to 10 million and then 100 million. And I think it's an interesting story. And it's also very authentic and real because half the time I have my glasses and retainers on in those videos. So come for a good show, okay?
I love it. I love it. I love it. Keira, you're absolutely amazing. I appreciate you making the time and sharing your energy and your wisdom with everybody listening.
Thank you. It was so much fun, Michael. I appreciate you.
For sure. For everybody out there listening, if you're on a mission to be the fittest leader possible, it starts with integrity, courage, and ownership, and rests on the foundation of alignment first. Head over to nextlevelhq.co and join us in the Leaders Forum if this conversation activates you and lights you on fire. We'll see you next week.